Hello and welcome to LFC Focus. Liverpool have got back to winning ways after beating Stoke City by 3-0 at the Bet365 Stadium in what was, a nice performance. It wasn't setting the world on fire. We didn't blow Stoke away by any means. But again, it was just another one of those games. Liverpool against a so-called smaller team, as we all know them as, and just kind of putting them to bed without any theatrics, without any real panic. A couple of flashpoints, couple of moments of worry that I will talk about later. But all in all, a fairly calm game where Liverpool simply, once again, got the job done and got themselves another 3 points in the Premier League. So, of course, having scored 3 goals, it makes sense to go through all of them. They were all very, very nice goals in their own right. The first one, good work from Joe Gomez to just keep the ball in, clip it back, didn't let the chance die, even when it looked dead and buried. And then a really good turn and pass from Dom Solanke, who did have a pretty decent game today. He was sort of thrown into it a little bit, hasn't had too much experience, in the Premier League. He's only really been brought on for the last 10 minutes or so. He hasn't really had a huge run of games or anything like that. Only his second start in a Liverpool shirt, first in the Premier League, and I think he performed all right. He probably could have got a goal later on in the game. He had a decent chance, had a decent shot at goal, didn't quite get the placement right, but all in all, he did the basics pretty well, held the ball up well, which I think was kind of his job, with Roberto Firmino to the other side of him. He was the one who was meant to get the ball, hold it up and allow the other players to arrive on the attack and stuff like that, and to just kind of deal with the physicality of Stoke's defenders in that way. Did all that really well, had some nice passes, could have got another assist when he put through Sadio Mane later on in the game as well, but got an assist here. Nice little turn and pass for Sadio Mane. Mane gets slightly lucky, I think, with the finish. He could have blasted it or put a little bit more height on the chip. It only just gets over Lee Grant, but a lovely finish as well, and very nice of Roberto Firmino to not absolutely just twat it in, because to be honest, if I were Firmino, and I think if you were Firmino, you probably would have just hit that ball as hard as you possibly could in that situation. But no, Firmino, he's a good mate, he's a lovely mate, he's the mate we all want and need in our lives. He leaves the ball for Sadio Mane, and it's a good goal. And when I was watching that, I was thinking about how it just shows how important it is for Liverpool to have multiple game changers and match winners in the squad. Obviously, we talk about Mo Salah an awful lot, and of course I'm going to talk about Mo Salah later because he did score 2 goals in that game, but he's generally Liverpool's main match winner. He's the go-to player when we need to change games, but we've got other players in the squad as well. We've got Sadio Mane, Phil Coutinho to a slightly lesser extent as well. We've got players all over the pitch who we can bring in to try and help change games in situations when it isn't necessarily going amazingly, because it was that kind of performance where last season we didn't quite have a spark, we weren't amazing, and it could have passed us by if we didn't have someone on the pitch who could have changed the game for us. And fortunately, we had Sadio Mane to do that nice and early on with a lovely finish to put Liverpool 1-0 up. After that, the game kind of just carried on at the same kind of pace, nothing really happening, until Simon Mignolet decided to run out of his box and kick Mame Biram Diouf in the leg, because, if the game's getting boring, it's a hell of a way to spice it up, isn't it? I mean, there's a debate over whether or not it was a red card, because obviously it is stopping a clear goal-scoring chance if he doesn't take Diouf down, and if Diouf gets round Simon Mignolet, he's pretty much got an open goal. But of course, the rules are changed around it. If you're not deliberately denying a goal-scoring chance, and having seen the replays, it looks like Mignolet does try and play the ball as much as he gets pretty much nowhere near it and gets an awful lot of Mame Biram Diouf's shin. It is only a yellow card. Very fortunately for Liverpool, it's only a free kick as well. It was inches away from being a penalty, and it would have been a very different game, I think, if Stoke had equalised at that point. So Mignolet got away with one a little bit there, and slightly worrying to see him making errors like that, coming out of his box when he doesn't necessarily need to. Diouf was surrounded by defenders at that point. He probably would have got the ball closed down and would have lost it at some point. So slightly worrying and a bit fortunate there for Liverpool. But, over a Premier League season, if you want to do well, if you want to finish in the top spots, in the top 4, you need a bit of luck here and there. We got it last season at Stoke as well, with some incredible saves from Simon Mignolet, and we got it here today with Mignolet doing something a little bit silly and just about getting away with it. So yeah, after that you had the moment when Solanke played through Sadio Mane. Probably should have got our second there. He could have pretty much finished the game off before half-time, which would have been nice. Sadly, Mane only hits the post, which is a little bit disappointing, but he's been in and out of the team since he came back from injury, so kind of fair enough. He's not quite at 100%, and because he got his goal earlier, I'll let him off. Still a decent performance from Sadio Mane. And then the second half was a bit boring, to be honest. Most of it passed us by. First half hour of that second half was just nothing really happened. Let's be honest. Stoke threatened a little bit, but not enough for it to ever really be that worrying. Liverpool were just trying to get chances on the counter-attack, and it wasn't really working. And then Jurgen Klopp brings on the King of Egypt, King of our hearts, Mo Salah, with an absolutely incredible goal. I mean, what a hit from Mo Salah that was. You know, he makes that look so easy. He makes it look like he could do that, you know, 100 times over, no questions asked. He is just that good at football. You know, it's a good cross from Mane as well. He picks Mo Salah out really well. Salah gets into a nice bit of space, and then he just absolutely, again, just twats it into the net. It's an incredible finish. It's a gorgeous finish as well. It's just the kind of finish that makes you love football, and certainly the kind of finish that makes you love Mo Salah. And again, it comes down to that thing of Liverpool have multiple game changers on the pitch. You know, if Mo Salah doesn't score then and it stays 1-0, the game could have become a little bit nervy. You know, Stoke could have come onto us a little bit. We would have had to sit back. It might have ended up like the game against Chelsea at the weekend where we sat back too much and Chelsea got a goal by chance. Stoke could have done the exact same, but because Liverpool have multiple game changers, they can bring Mo Salah onto the pitch as well. He changes the game, scores a second goal and kills everything off, and it's a lovely goal as well. And Jurgen Klopp, you know, if for whatever reason you're watching, shows you the power of an early substitution, doesn't it? It's nice. Do it more. But yeah, so lovely goal from Mo Salah, and then later on in the game he does it again. Well, doesn't do the exact same thing again, but another lovely goal from him. You know, pressures the defender, bit Luis Suarez-esque if you ask me, and there have been a hell of a lot of Mo Salah Luis Suarez comparisons over the last month or so, bearing in mind 8 goals in November for Mo Salah, 8 goals in a month. 2 goals today in about half an hour. He's incredible, isn't he? I say it a lot, but let's just take another moment to appreciate Mo Salah. But yeah, closes the Stoke defender down really well, forces that error, manages to put himself through on goal, and it's such a calm finish, you know. Unless a player would have just laid it off to Sadio Mane to just tap into an empty goal, Mo Salah doesn't need to. Mo Salah doesn't need anybody. Mo Salah can do it all by himself. Just slides it past Lee Grant. 3-0, Liverpool in dreamland. Easy peasy. Finish the job. Lovely stuff once again. So all in all, again, generally just a decent performance from Liverpool. Just no fireworks, nothing amazing, just a good, solid performance, getting the job done. And it was also quite nice to see the sort of change in formation and the rotation with the lineup as well, working and paying dividends for us. Because, you know, with this busy Christmas schedule coming up, this is not the last time that Liverpool are going to have to rotate to that degree. I think it was like 6 changes we ended up making to the lineup for that game. And normally you'd worry about that. Last season you would have worried about that. And it shows the importance of having these multiple match winners like Mane and Salah in the squad. It shows the importance of players like Oxlade-Chamberlain, who earlier on in the season we were questioning why he was here. He's really starting to show how important he is to Liverpool now. Really pleased with Oxlade-Chamberlain. He's settled in quite nicely, put in a really decent performance today as well. Just quite workmanlike, did his job reasonably well. So yeah, good to see the rotation working. Good to see we've got another plan B when it comes to how we want to set up against teams like Stoke. You know, did the same thing we did against West Ham and it worked pretty well again. So that was lovely as well. I think the important thing about that formation, that the sort of 4-2-2/4-2-4, is that with that sort of front four that you've got, it means that the 2 midfielders can both sit back, and it meant that Emre Can and Wijnaldum could do a lot more defensive work. And when Liverpool play that 4-3-3, we normally send 2 midfielders forward and leave 1 midfielder back. And I just think in some situations, especially away from home, that's a little bit too gung-ho. And I think it's important that Liverpool have that option where they want to sit back a little bit more without it necessarily affecting the attack too much. Because, I mean, you have 4 attacking players on the pitch. You don't really need any more. And then you have got 2 midfielders to sit back and protect the back 4. So, yeah, really good to see that system working. I'd certainly like to see it again in the upcoming games over Christmas. And it really sort of eases my worries about rotation in future. You know, if Jurgen Klopp does want to make 6 changes to the lineup again, I'd be a lot less worried than maybe I would have been 2 months ago. So that was also good to see. And once again, another good performance of Liverpool against the lower down team. You know, just getting the job done. Like I said so many times in this video, nothing too fancy, nothing too special, just carefully getting 3 points. And in the end, you know, the scoreline once again looks quite nice. Winning by 3 goals again. It does reflect well, helps your goal difference, helps you get 3 points. And, you know, we haven't got too many big games coming up over the December period. I think apart from Arsenal away right before Christmas on like the 22nd or something, most of the games are against teams like Stoke. You know, they're teams that we really should be beating. And if we carry on putting in these kind of performances and getting these kind of results, then there's no reason why Liverpool can't pick up win after win after win and hopefully force their way into the top 4. So that is all for today's video. Thank you guys very, very much for watching. I'll be back shortly for the pre-match content for the game against Brighton at the weekend on Saturday. So if you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button there. Check out some of the other content that's been out on the channel over the past few days as well. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. Follow at LFC Focus TV on Twitter, and I'll see you very shortly for that pre-match content. Bye for now.